How can street games be reimagined to encourage social interaction in a modern urban play context? So what you saw there before was one of the highlights for the game called Stacker. And Stacker is a fully physical game where you have to stack boxes as high as you can, but with a twist. And the twist is that each box has a rule that you pick up from the prompt card, from the bunch of cards, and that decides on how to place the boxes, which is by using either you can get using hands, using elbows, using arms, or using your head, or also using your legs. And before we head off to me showing you how the game was made, let's talk about like some context on where this game kind of got inspired from. Stacker was inspired by one of the games made by Stuart Brand called Earthball. Brand hosted like a public event where he had a bunch of games in the playfield, and one of the games, the Earthball, the goal was for two teams to move a 6 feet diameter rubber ball across two sides. And what he observed was if the ball reaches in one side, the people in the team would switch sides and try to knock it on the other side, and then vice versa. And that's where the new game movement was formed. The motto is to play hard, play fair, and nobody is hurt. And that just means that physical play is important, and no one should be left behind. Everyone should participate, and the game is played with little to no equipments, with simple rules. And the other inspiration was from one of my past projects that I did in RMIT Public Exhibition 2022. It's a couch party game called Untitled Game, where you can play a bunch of mini games up to 4 players on the same device. And from what I observed was when the players were playing my game, I would see an increased activities of side talking or or shouting when there was like in certain push and pull elements of the game. I want to take that moment and expand it on the bigger scale, and that's where I tried experimenting that on Stacker. I've taken the practice-led research approach to answer the questions. I've observed, recorded, and noted down the players' behaviors on each playtest and used that data or feedback to improve on the next version of the game, the next playtest. And initially, Stacker started off by doing like small playtests with my friends, and that's where I observed that I had to change a lot on the rules of the game, like the rules especially on how to stack the boxes. And I could also take it to certain extremes, like how it is now, where you could use certain body parts to stack the boxes. Because initially it was you could just orient with boxes. I was trying to apply the rules on the boxes itself, but with the playtests and the feedback from my friends, I found out that you could apply the rules on the player itself and add constraints on the player on when they stack the boxes. And initially, Stacker was derived by one of the Pakistani street games called Pithu Garam, or known as 7 Stones, where there would be two teams and one team would knock over small 7 stones with a tennis ball. But due to many of the playtests and iteration, the core element of the Pakistani street game got reinvented to fit the public playtest. So how did the public playtest go? Stacker was shown at was hosted in Melbourne International Games Week on RMIT's Bowen Street. So the whole street got transformed into a public playground or like public play space where anyone can play and try out games. There were like 5 games, including mine, along the whole Bowen Street, and from what I've observed on the playtest, overall it went really well. You could say it was a huge success, and there were a lot of people who wanted to try out my game along with everyone else's. I think each project got a fair amount of crowd. There was fair amount of crowds in each project. Did Reimagine Street Games encourage social interaction? From what I saw at the event, there was a very strong evidence that social interaction between players increased, and many of them would try to reach the end goal because the rules were simple. And even also observed that people who would not know each other were comfortable working together compared to if it was like a digital game like Untitled Game. There wasn't that much like social interaction between strangers. Next steps is this project will be proposed once again to RMIT Creative, and upon successful proposal, at least like one of our projects will get chosen for funding for like public events such as open day or orientation, and that also will be hosted around different campuses. Upon like successful funding, I'll be changing the look of the boxes from boxes to foam blocks so that I could make them into Tetris shapes. And also I'll be preparing this project at RMIT's another public event which is happening end of this year, and I'll be touching up on the rules so that it's simple enough and players would easily pick up the game and players would pick up the rules a bit better. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the video, the presentation, and I'll see you guys